There is probably no better known religious symbol, at least in the Western world, than the cross. While the basic shape is simple, vertical and horizontal bars overlapping, crosses take many forms among Christians, both today and down the centuries. Here is a cross to be held in the hand. It comes from the Ethiopian Church. Its shape and symbolic language will be quite foreign to most people. Here is another. It's European, from the 19th century, and was designed to be hung around the neck and to rest on the wearer's breast. It is far more familiar in its design and style. It portrays Jesus' sufferings and shows him with his head bowed in death. The origin of the cross as a symbol lies in the fact that Jesus was put to death by Roman soldiers using this very public form of execution. As Christians say in their formal statements of faith, Jesus suffered under Pontius Pilate. For Christians, the cross is not simply an historical reminder of the execution of Jesus. Within a decade of his death, the cross had become a shorthand for a central part of their message. We see this use of the cross as a shorthand in what St. Paul said in 54 AD. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. But that said, there is a great variation between groups of Christians, and even within groups, about the cross's message. And the focus shifts within communities with every generation. So if we look at the form a cross takes, its shape, its colour, whether and how it shows Jesus, and what else it depicts alongside him, we can discover a great deal about a group's theology. That is, what they believe about Jesus, how they imagine what salvation means, and about their spirituality, how they imagine the death of Jesus relating to them, how they relate to his sufferings and death, and how they imagine the presence of God in the world. Here is a very good example of reading a cross to see the theology and spirituality embedded in it. This is a modern cross. It was made in El Salvador in the 1990s. It was produced in a community that had thought much about what their cross should look like, and it reflects many of the ideas that had been given prominence by the Liberation Theology movement. Notice that while it is the work of a skilled craftsman, it is not an elaborate piece of art. This is the artistic expression of ordinary people. Compare the European Crucifix, a professional product made to a formal standard. The Jesus shown on the cross is alive and looking straight at us. He is crucified but alive. This was a common theme for crosses before the time of the Black Death, which took place in the 14th century. But it is now rare. This cross is a reminder of the life that Jesus gives rather than being focused on his suffering. This is anything but a glorification of pain. Its message is that the risen Jesus is sharing now in the sufferings, the crosses of the poor who made this cross. The cross is presented as standing in the middle of the world. You can see the houses situated around a globe. Again, this is an older way of viewing the cross, echoing a line from the prophet Ezekiel. From the crucified and risen Jesus, the world gets life. You can see that here the earth is depicted as fruitful and beautiful. Then as the source of life, Jesus sends the Spirit into the people. They stand at the bottom, facing the onlookers, forming one community with them. Up at the top, we have the sun shining on the creation. This again is an image many Christians today would not recognize. The image is from the prophet Malachi and of Jesus as the Son of Righteousness, who rises with healing for his people. And while most Christians think of the scene of the cross as taking place in a darkened land, the crucifixion story is told in the Gospels of Mark, Matthew and Luke, here the scene is one of broad daylight. The scene is imagined in John's Gospel. Jesus is the light of the world. This imagery of Jesus' cross as the symbol of healing, liberation, hope and joy is then reinforced by the label in Spanish, La Nueva Creación. This picks up a theme from St. Paul. So if anyone is in Christ, there is a new creation. Everything old has passed away. Look, everything has become new. Look at the peaceful animals. Another early Christian theme. Jesus has made peace by the blood of his cross. Just note the sense of joy conveyed by the bright colours. It may have come from a society suffering from poverty, but it is witness to a culture of hope and one of great theological sophistication.